Why did sports cards boom in 2020? You ever wonder that? I mean, there's so many reasons, there's so many speculations, government spending, no sports available, no gambling, the perfect storm with the last dance on TV. I want you to listen to something that I find very interesting. And the big question I ask is why is no one asking about this specific conversation that took place from what we're being told in the spring of 2020? And that is Gary Vee organizing a Zoom call with millionaires, around 36, I believe, to discuss sports cards. Listen to this conversation. This is from Lucas Tigers and Bronze, episode 395, August 5th, 2021. So like over a year and a half almost after the call. Listen to this though. Just listen, please.
We started a group chat. The group chat with a bunch of like Gary's friends and different business guys and friends. And we're all just talking about the national, what happened, what we bought, what did you get, what did you buy, what did you buy. I only bought a couple of LeBrons and a couple of Jordans. And at the time, the LeBrons were $1,050. And so a lot of people have heard that Gary bought 53 LeBrons for $1,050 each. I watched him do the wire during the national. And so I only bought a couple of those. I bought a couple of Jordans. I bought a couple of Lucas. And when I get back, I see like $1,000 LeBron go to $1,400 and then $1,700. And so my little business brain gets buzzing. I'm like, wait, this is interesting. The group chat gets so big, we start a second group chat. And we start a Pokemon group chat. And then Gary says, why don't you invite some of your friends that may have collected in the past but don't have any cards now? Business friends, cannabis friends, music guys, let's get them all into a Zoom call and just explain what we're doing and why. So
I just want to say something here real quickly. He talks about they created a group chat and that Gary Vee bought 50 of these cards and he watched the values going up and his business brain's going, wonder what that business brain was thinking. He doesn't talk about what that business brain was thinking. Also, he is told to go get your friends, your cannabis friends, your crypto friends, I believe he says, who do not have sports cards today, but had collected in the past, but do not have them now. So we're talking, go find me, in my opinion, completely blind and ignorant to the sports card market individuals with a lot of money. Am I wrong? Listen.
That's where Rob G never had a card before that day. Now he's got tens of millions of dollars in cards. Steve Aoki, Lewis Howes, the podcaster, cannabis executives, real estate executives, business executives are all on that first Zoom call with 36 guys. During that call, it was just Gary explaining his passion. You can feel it, right? You can still feel it, but like he was, it's intoxicating. Everybody wanted to be a part of it. Out of 36 guys, 27 of them start buying, and like a dozen-ish go nuts, right? Those dozen-ish probably have 60 or 70 million dollars in cards now. The day before that Zoom call, they had zero.
Think about that again. $60 million of money floods into sports cards in the spring of 2020. 60 million from 12 individuals who know nothing about sports cards before they got in. And I love the part about Gary Vee gets in and tells you about how much he loves it. Nothing wrong here, guys. Nothing wrong. I just think it's very important to bring this to your attention and ask the question, why is no one asking more about that Zoom call? Asking those individuals what they've done since then, what they do afterwards. Ask Gary Vee, why did you orchestrate this? And then step away and say you had nothing to do with it. Listen to more.
Zero. And so to watch how deep Aoki's got, how deep some of these podcasters have got, obviously how deep Rob G has got buying the most expensive cars in history.
I want to point out, Aoki probably made back any money he made just in his Topps deal alone, right? He signed that Topps deal last year, was putting out Topps cards, doing autographs. I mean, that was a great business. And this is an example. Let me say this, look, as somebody who's in business and been in business, money gets you access to opportunities, okay? The 36 millionaires in that call probably weren't much different than many other collectors. They just didn't have access to that call, that conversation, those direction, that guidance.
Like that, having that happen is huge for the entire market, because if all of a sudden Rob's spending $5 million on a baseball card, that helps the whole market, the amount of press that happens. If Aoki all of a sudden is opening up packs and Logan Paul's opening packs and these things are happening, it all stemmed from one Zoom call. Like
it all stemmed from one Zoom call.
Just telling people why we like the game. Now, I'm proactively trying to do that at all times. right? Whether it's events, whether it's charity events, whether it's social media content, constantly trying to bring interesting characters in. Whether they're going to buy a little bit of cards or lots of cards, who knows? But getting them interested in it usually has an emotional attachment to their past, to their childhood. And then what they take from it and what they do with it, like I said, some people didn't buy anything. Some people went nuts. But then I love this.
Okay, now I'm going to pause real quickly. I'm going to applaud Luca, Tigers, and Bronze for putting together these conversations, but I'm going to laugh at them for how they have a terrible, terrible habit of follow-up. Now, right here, Cage doesn't do a follow-up question. He's going to do a follow-up defensive move. This is sad. This is very sad. So my question would be, well, you know, Dan, can you explain to the viewers why we don't see this maybe market manipulation and you're pumping them? Our viewers might be concerned that, you know, Gary might not have directly, you know, pumped up cards and sold them, but maybe he pumped them up and the 36 people sold them and they made money and they sent him kickbacks. Sounds to me like that very much could have happened, right? Listen, people, go spend 60 million. I'm going to pump the card world out and then I'll send you a message to do another Zoom call in a few months and you sell everything and we're going to do well and I won't look bad and you guys will look great. Did you ask that question, Cage? Did you?
Story and, you know, the beginning of it, I'm sitting here going, wow, you know, it's culture and it's cards and it's people coming in and it's great. But I'd be remiss, you know, to our audience if I didn't ask this follow-up on it, right? It sounds like a Masters of the Universe type of scenario where you're talking about 30 people in a group who magically and coincidentally, the hobby has gotten hot in the last 18 to 24 months. It coincides with the same time that Gary comes into a group with a bunch of rich folks and says, hey, everybody buy because I love it. Now, it's not, there's no manipulation, there's no intention. Everybody loved it. Everybody loved his passion. Everybody said, go ahead and buy these things. Everybody thought LeBron was too cheap at that $1,000. Look, it's at $18,000 now, and it was like significantly higher than that. I guess my concern is, maybe you can, you know, help me with that and maybe help the audience with that is.
Did you notice how he didn't ask a follow-up question? Because my follow-up question would be, and then he doesn't answer that. Now, here's what he's going to say. Listen.
You know, Gary comes on pretty often. He says things like, hey, you know, NFTs, it's like internet 2007. You know, 98% of this is going to fail. Only the good stuff is going to survive. And then, you know, he comes on and says, buy VFriends, but then comes on this week and says, hey, VFriends are expensive. Go buy World of Women NFTs, right? You know, he does his thing, right? So do you envision a time where Gary comes into that group and says, hey, guys, we got too far out ahead of our skis? Start, not DJ ski, but you know what I mean. We maybe we should pare back. And then that group, which has now 50, 70, 80, $100 million worth of cards, says, all right, we're going to start dumping these onto the market and everybody's left holding a bag. Should we be worried about that?
So yeah, so let's walk through. Let's unpack all of it.
Yeah, please.
So a couple of things. One, Gary's very competitive, so he buys a lot of the cards that.
I just want to point out, we get to the question in a very friendly way. Watch this answer.
Even when I want like the Kevin Durant auto, he'll go buy it at the auction at the last second. Like he's in the game. The
wait, he's bidding against you?
Oh yeah.
I'm supposed to care. So what?
That's great.
He's basically bidding, saying, hey, we need the price to be higher.
Battle mode at all times. So a couple of things. One, in the group chat, for example, people are buying completely different cards, right? You've seen Gary talk about like a Kevin Durant card being undervalued, LeBron being undervalued, Michael Jordan being undervalued. It's not exactly rocket science. Like he's just saying a couple of the main Hall of Fame stars like that he likes, and that's it. He's not out saying go buy this exact card or this exact thing. He's also buying wrestling.
I just want to point out, rocket scientist Dan, if I was really ready here, I'd pull up some graphs to show you those players are all down, especially KD. So, ooh, rocket science worked really well for you, genius.
And stickers and weird garbage pail kids and all sorts of things across the board. It ends up being, who knows, $10 or $20 million worth of stuff. But he doesn't sell. Like I want to buy stuff from him and I can't because he just doesn't sell. He's too rich. What's the point? Right? So oftentimes I hear people about him manipulating. The guy's got so many.
See, that's not the point. Okay, guys. Let me say this. This is why I don't like people like Dan. Because Dan, you're not here because you care about a collector. You're here to milk out as many collectors as you can. You don't care about this hobby. You're just here to profit. And that's fine. You're a businessman. I respect you for that. But I'm going to call you what you are. Okay? You never answered the question on whether or not this call was used to manipulate the market. You put $60 million or say $60 million is put into the market. You don't talk about how it goes. You just give us something. Well, Gary's not selling. Gary's not. He wouldn't do that. Here's what Gary can do. Not saying he did, but could do. Look, dude, I'm going to help you make, 20%, 30% on $1 million investment. Put 10 million in there. You're going to cash out a couple $1 million. And what I want from you, I don't want you to help me sell cards. I want you to help me get access to this player. I want you to give me access to this business. I want you to sponsor my D friends. It's not about direct, tit for tat, guys. It's not that clear. It's not going to be that obvious. But clearly, Gary V manipulated the sports card market and was directly involved in a large infusion of money that came into the hobby. It sounds like that money too was focused at the buying of the cards, which is specifically stimulating the market. Unlike buying businesses or investing in star stocks, which is going to have a trickle-down effect, this was direct investment in cards, manipulated, instructed, sold to by Gary V. Am I wrong? Why is no one calling him out? I can tell you why a lot of the social media won't call him out. Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze is so far up Gary V's hiney, they won't do it. Okay, they're not going to ask any hard questions. Most of the other content creators all idolize Gary V. Gary V told them to create their channels. And look, I'm not against Gary, but I've been critical of Gary since the beginning. I saw this coming 2 years ago when he did this. I've been questioning why he did this. Why didn't you warn people? Why didn't you educate people? You caused a lot of harm, sir. So do a lot of other people. I don't give a crap, but I'm just calling a spade a spade. And this looked a little suspicious to me. Why aren't more people talking about it? Thanks.